Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. 3 intoxicated college students tried to pick a fight with my wife and me. It was a grave error on their part. The young man's loud voice at the tavern sliced through the Friday night chatter like a bad alarm. "How can such a knockout be with that old man?" he shouted. I let out a deep breath. "I'm Alex Harrison, and I'm 54 years old. 2 decades as a military officer taught me to recognize trouble long before it got close. In this situation, trouble looked like 3 college wannabes who'd been staring at my wife Olivia for the last hour. Olivia's hand found mine under the table and squeezed it. She's 49, but those who don't know her usually guess she's in her mid-30s. Tonight, wearing that blue dress, even I had to stop and appreciate her beauty. "Ready to get going, honey?" I asked, keeping my voice low and even, though I'd already sensed their hostile vibe. The noisiest one, a blonde with a backward cap and a school sweatshirt, stood up as we walked past their table. His 2 buddies were close by, acting like a cheap security team. "Seriously, what's a woman like that doing with a guy like you?" the blonde yelled for the whole bar to hear. I stopped walking. Olivia's hold on my arm tightened. People around us were quiet, watching. Gary, the bartender, even stopped what he was doing. "That's how you know a show is about to start." I gave the kid a brief once-over. He was about 160 pounds and wore that sweatshirt like it was a bulletproof vest. I smiled faintly. "My friend, do you want the real answer? It has to do with vegetables, paying a mortgage, and a rather creative use for muscle rub." That made a few people around us laugh. The blonde looked confused, as if I'd just spoken a different language. The bigger one, wearing a Letterman jacket, leaned in with a confident smile. "She probably has to change his diapers." I scanned him from head to toe, then smirked. "That's a good one. Did you come up with that yourself? Or did your mom write it down for you?" Olivia squeezed my arm harder, likely telling me not to mess up his face. The third guy, a lanky one with greasy hair, then tried to act charming but came off as sad and desperate. "Come on, pretty lady," he said, puffing out his chest. "We can show you a real good time." This third guy stood in front of the doorway, blocking our path. "Yeah, your grandpa probably can't even get it up anymore," he sneered. I raised an eyebrow. An impotence joke? These guys were truly unoriginal. I took a good look at them now. Soft hands, clean designer clothes, and not a single wrinkle in their shirts. These were boys whose biggest problems were probably bad coffee orders. The only battles they'd ever seen were on a TV, and I'd bet they watched them on mute so their mothers wouldn't hear the cursing. "Right, sure, pal," I said, nodding slowly. Olivia instantly knew the tone. It was the same calm, dangerous sound I'd use on new recruits who thought they knew more than their officer. That look usually ended with somebody doing push-ups until they cried. The blonde boy mistook my quietness for weakness. He puffed out his chest like a proud pigeon. "What's that supposed to mean, old man?" "It means we are leaving," I said calmly. "Some of us have a job to get to in the morning." Olivia tugged on my arm, urging me toward the exit. But of course, I could feel them right behind us, buzzing like angry wasps. The energy in the tavern had changed. People leaned in over their beers, waiting for drama. Gary, the bartender, caught my eye from behind the counter. He gave me a quick nod that said, "You're about to make my night interesting." I knew this wasn't over. My mind flashed back to my time as Staff Sergeant Harrison, teaching hand-to-hand combat. I wasn't known for being soft. Back then, a solution was quick and always left someone regretting their health insurance. But Olivia changed that. She taught me that true strength isn't about proving a point to every loudmouth who has had too much to drink. I met her in 1998, just after my 3rd tour. She was a nurse at the VA hospital, caring for men like me, men who came back with more than just their bags. The first time I saw Olivia, she was holding the hand of an old Vietnam veteran as he wept about his nightmares. She didn't flinch. She just sat there, steady as a mountain, while the man fell apart. That's when I knew she was special. We got married a year later. She wanted kids, but it never happened for us. Instead, we gave all our energy to each other. She supported me as I struggled through the minefield of civilian life. I supported her through nursing school and her master's, which almost killed me because every time she had a paper due, I had to learn how to edit it correctly. Now she runs the trauma unit at the hospital. She's the one who scolds arrogant surgeons. Tonight was supposed to be a special night. Olivia had just been promoted to department head, and we decided to celebrate at the tavern. It was the same corner booth, same Friday night regulars, even the same bartender, Gary, who remembered when we were young and my idea of a romantic date was, "Hey, want to split some wings?" But the world had other plans for us tonight, thanks to 3 frat boys. I saw them the moment we walked in. Their conversation stopped like we'd entered a middle school cafeteria. The blonde almost broke his neck looking at Olivia, while his friends nudged each other. I've seen that same look before, Overseas, in bars full of soldiers who decided they were entitled to something that wasn't theirs. It always ended the same way. Broken bones, bad excuses, and military police hauling someone away. Olivia saw it too, but she's used to the attention. After 26 years of marriage, she still turns heads everywhere we go. Usually, I'm proud of it, but tonight it felt like termites eating at a foundation. They're just kids, Olivia whispered, putting her hand on mine when she saw me watching them. Ignore them. I am ignoring them, I said, stabbing a mozzarella stick. See? Totally zen. You're one eyebrow twitch away from throwing them through the jukebox. She smirked. Not true, I mumbled. The jukebox is bolted to the floor. We both laughed, but their muffled conversation still reached us. Something about her being wasted on an old guy, and bet she's desperate for some real action. That kind of talk doesn't just cross a line. It jumps over it. The blonde eventually got up to use the restroom. His path led him right past our booth. He slowed down, checked out Olivia like she was a new menu item, then winked at her. Olivia, my rock, the woman who once sat through 12 hours of her sister's labor without blinking, actually looked away. She was uncomfortable for the first time all evening. That was the moment. That was the point of no return. Not because I was scared of three punks who thought they were tough, but because Olivia deserved to celebrate her promotion in peace. Of course, I knew they wouldn't let it go. The tavern's parking lot was dark, a few lights casting long shadows between the cars. Olivia and I were halfway to my truck when I heard footsteps behind us. Hey, where are you going? The blonde's voice echoed across the asphalt, as smug as a cat with a mouse. We weren't done talking. I stopped walking. Olivia's hand found mine instinctively. In our 26 years together, she'd only seen me in 3 fights. Each time, it was over so fast the other guy probably thought he blacked out. Alex, she whispered, pulling gently. Let's just leave. I turned. All 3 were there, standing under a street light like they owned the place. The blonde had his phone out, pointing the camera at me, already planning his viral video. Newsflash, kid, I said. Old guy beats up 3 college students doesn't get you likes. The stocky one in the Letterman jacket puffed his chest, stepping forward like he was the star of a bad movie. We think your wife wants to spend some time with real men. The skinny one with the greasy hair laughed. Yeah. Before she forgets what that's like. That was it. A switch flipped inside me. The civilian me shut down. Staff Sergeant Harrison came out. Olivia felt the change in my posture instantly. She always does. Alex, she whispered, her voice a warning. It's fine, sweetheart, I said. My eyes locked on the 3 idiots in front of me. These boys want to dance. They looked at each other and started laughing, that high-pitched, nervous kind of laugh you hear just before someone does something truly stupid. The blonde put his phone away, stepped forward, and cracked his knuckles like he was about to get into a wrestling ring. You're serious, old man? You want to fight all 3 of us? One at a time, I repeated slowly, smiling. Unless you're scared. That word hit them hard. Pride, the great weakness of every young man who thinks he's invincible. Olivia stepped back toward my truck. No argument, no plea. She knew exactly what I was capable of. Back in the service, I taught defensive tactics to soldiers half my age. I know how to read an opponent's balance, the way their feet give away what they're about to do. 20 years of drills had burned that into me. These boys had no idea what they were getting into. They thought this was a film. Spoiler. I don't do choreographed stunts. The blonde rolled his shoulders, bouncing on his toes like he was in a championship boxing match. His buddies fanned out to the sides, surrounding me like a poorly planned military operation. How predictable. What they didn't get was that 2 decades of training doesn't just disappear. My reflexes weren't gone. They were just waiting. Sure enough, the blonde, Mark, came at me first. College guys always do. They lead with their ego. This is for calling us kids, Grandpa, he shouted, winding up for what he probably thought was a knockout punch. I could practically hear the voice in his head. I'm gonna knock out this old guy, and everyone will cheer. The problem was, he signaled that punch so badly, I thought he might send out invitations. His weight shifted to his back foot, his shoulder dipped, and his whole body coiled up. In the military, we called this slow motion Sunday. That moment when everything becomes sharp and clear. I could see every bead of sweat on his forehead, every muscle twitch in his jaw. I simply took a step to the left, as calmly as if I were avoiding a puddle. His fist whooshed past my ear with all the force of a soft breeze. Because he'd put all his balance into that punch, gravity did the rest. He stumbled forward, arms flailing, like a man trying to fly. I didn't even have to touch him. He crashed face-first into the brick wall of the tavern. The sound was like a watermelon hitting concrete. He collapsed, clutching his bloody nose. My face, he moaned. You broke my face. I just dusted off my hands. I didn't break anything. You did that all on your own. That earned me a few laughs from people watching. Even Olivia, trying to look serious, had a faint, "I told you so" look in her eyes. The Letterman kid, Sam, now looked at me differently. He'd lost some confidence, but he still had enough teenage pride to believe he could save the day. "You got lucky with Mark," he growled, taking off his jacket like he was a wrestling villain. "I played football in high school." I nodded. "Good for you. I once won a ribbon in a third-grade foot race. A life-changing experience." He lowered his shoulder and charged like he was back under Friday night lights. But this time, there were no cheerleaders or referees. 2 steps away, I reached out and used his own momentum to spin him around. He met the large dumpster behind the tavern with a loud bang that rang out like a bell. But his momentum wasn't done yet. The dumpster was at just the right height that when Sam hit it, his legs kept going up and over. "Help!" His muffled voice came from inside the dumpster. "I'm stuck." I looked over the edge. There he was, stuck upside down in garbage bags, his legs kicking like a panicked bug, his Letterman jacket tangled around his head. I straightened my shirt. 20 years in the army taught me patience, boys. It also taught me about physics. The tall, skinny one, Connor, wasn't so tough anymore. He kept looking back and forth between his 2 friends. Mark, who was slumped against the wall trying to figure out which way was up, and Sam, who was helplessly trapped in last week's trash. And then there was me, just standing there without a single drop of sweat. "This is crazy," Connor stammered. "You can't just attack people." "Assault?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "I haven't touched either of them. They assaulted themselves. I just believe in natural consequences." A couple of people started to laugh. Even Gary the bartender came outside, wiping his hands on a rag, watching the show. Connor, in a full panic, pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police," he yelled. "Great idea," I said cheerfully. "Just make sure to tell them how 3 young men followed a married couple into a dark parking lot and threatened them. I'm sure the officer will appreciate that." That's when Connor made his mistake. Instead of either calling or running away, his pride took over. While talking about dialing 911, Connor began to swing wildly, trying for a sucker punch. The problem for Connor was that the army trains you to be aware of everything. He swung for my head, but I ducked without even thinking. His fist went right past me and hit the parking meter behind me. The sound of his knuckles hitting the metal echoed through the lot. Then came a shriek so high-pitched it probably set off car alarms. He clutched his hand to his chest, his face twisted in pain. "My hand!" Connor cried, rocking on the asphalt. "You broke my hand." "You broke your own hand," I corrected him calmly. I ducked. "You hit a parking meter. Congratulations. You fought city property and lost." By now, the police and paramedics had arrived. People were pouring out of the tavern, holding their phones up, recording the scene. Gary, the bartender, stood in the doorway, shaking his head. Connor's face was a bloody mess, his nose rearranged in ways it wasn't supposed to be. Sam's legs were still kicking from the dumpster, and Connor was sitting there, sobbing. "Somebody call an ambulance," he begged the crowd. "Already did," a woman from the bar said. As soon as we heard the screaming. Of course she had. Connor's scream was hard to miss. Olivia walked over then, calm as ever, and handed me my jacket. Her eyes had that look I hadn't seen in a while, like she wasn't looking at the middle-aged guy who worried about bills but at the soldier she'd met 27 years ago. "You okay, sweetheart?" I asked as I put on my jacket. "Perfect," she said, linking her arm through mine as if we had just finished a nice dinner. That's when Connor tried one last desperate move. "He attacked us," he yelled at the police. "This old man assaulted 3 college students." The officer said that their stories didn't match what the witnesses saw. "They're claiming Mr. Harrison attacked them first," the officer said. "But we have 3 videos that show them following the couple and starting the fight." I wasn't surprised. Young men who get caught in embarrassing situations always try to change the story. These 3 couldn't accept that they lost a fight I never even joined. "They keep saying he must have hit them somehow," the officer said, shaking his head. Gary the bartender came over. "Officer, I've seen every kind of fight. This wasn't a fight. It was 3 drunk kids trying to bully someone and getting a lesson in physics instead. Couldn't have said it better myself." The paramedics were strapping Connor into the ambulance, his hand in a splint. Mark refused to go because he thought his face would heal better at home. Sam was being interviewed by another officer, still covered in dumpster juice. "Are we free to go?" Olivia asked. The officer nodded. "We have your contact information. But honestly, this looks very clear. 3 intoxicated people harassed a couple and then hurt themselves while trying to attack them." As Olivia and I walked to my truck, I heard Connor's voice from inside the ambulance. "Mom, this old guy must have been a martial arts expert or something. He totally destroyed us without even trying." Olivia chuckled. "Martial arts expert," I said. "Close enough. If they want to call me a ninja, who am I to ruin the legend?" I got into the driver's seat. Sam walked by our truck and looked through the windshield. His eyes weren't full of arrogance anymore. They were filled with fear. Mark was talking into his phone, pointing at me, as if that would fix his broken face. "They're going to remember this night for the rest of their lives," Olivia said as we drove away. "Good," I replied. "Maybe next time they'll think twice before harassing someone." But I had a feeling the consequences for those three were just beginning. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, Olivia showed me her phone. The video had gotten over 2 million views and was spreading fast. Someone had put all the videos together into a movie with slow motion and dramatic music. The title, "Three College Brothers Get Schooled by Army Grandpa Without Him Throwing a Single Punch." I almost choked on my coffee. Army Grandpa? I've still got better knees than half the NFL. The comments were brutal. "Imagine being so weak you get beaten by physics. These guys really thought they were tough. That soldier didn't even break a sweat. When keeping it real goes wrong." Olivia was grinning. "And the best part? I heard from a friend at their university that all three have been identified from the video. The internet exposed them faster than a drill instructor exposing a mistake." The university reacted quickly. Harassing a veteran and his wife doesn't look good for them. Who knew? Mark and Sam faced possible suspension, and Connor, already on academic probation, was struggling. This incident gave the school the perfect reason to expel him. Their fraternity threw them under the bus. The same crew that once called them kings of the party now couldn't get rid of them fast enough. Turns out loyalty can be a very short thing. Olivia was practically bouncing as she scrolled. "Look at this comment," she said. "These guys acted like they owned the campus. Now they can't show their faces anywhere without people laughing." I smirked. Poetic justice. They wanted to own the night, and now the night owns them in 4K. The whole event had taken on a life of its own. Campus security offices were using the video for training. Self-defense instructors were showing it as a way to win a fight without fighting. 3 young men who wanted to humiliate an older couple ended up providing the internet with enough comedy to rival a TV show. 6 months later, Olivia and I went back to the tavern for our anniversary. This time, nobody bothered us. Gary greeted us with a smile. "The famous couple," he said. "Free drinks for our local celebrities." I sighed. Celebrities? I get in one dumpster dive, and I'm a star. The corner booth had been named the Harrison Table. Gary even put up a small plaque, where respect was earned and lessons were learned. Olivia raised her glass. "You have to admit that's pretty good. As long as they don't start charging tickets." We were halfway through dinner when Olivia leaned in, a mischievous look in her eyes. "You'll love this," she said. "I heard about our 3 friends from my contacts at the hospital. Mark got launched out of there like a firework. After his fraternity kicked him out, he transferred schools, probably hoping nobody would recognize him as the guy who tried to headbutt a brick wall and lost. Plastic surgeons did their best, but the mirror still reminds him that physics is undefeated. Sam didn't do any better. Once a football star, he's now the king of aisle 3 at the local grocery store. The poor kid dropped out entirely. His parents? Embarrassed. Imagine scrolling through Facebook and seeing your son do a slow-motion dive into a dumpster set to opera music. Thanksgiving will be very quiet for them. And then there's Connor, the best part of the story. His hand was so badly hurt it took multiple surgeries and months of physical therapy. His chance at a baseball career was gone. With that and being expelled, he managed to lose both his future in sports and his future in school all in one night. Very efficient. I'll give him that. Olivia cut her salmon, the fork glinting under the pub lights. "Do you ever feel bad for them?" she asked, looking at me like she already knew the answer. I leaned back, watching the crowd. Feel bad? No. They made their choices. I just sped up the learning process. You can call me a substitute teacher for Life Lessons 101. Olivia smirked, raising her glass. "To consequences, then." I clinked my glass against hers. "To consequences." When we stood up to leave, Gary waved from behind the bar like we were going on another mission. I held the door for Olivia, and we stepped out into the cool night. The parking lot was the same place where 3 young men learned the toughest lesson of their lives. The streetlights flickered, casting long shadows. But this time, there was no tension, no noise, no chaos. Just the quiet hum of the lights and the sound of gravel underfoot. Everything felt different now, calm and peaceful. Mark, Sam, and Connor had gotten a hard lesson in life. The world doesn't give you respect just because you demand it. I almost felt like giving them diplomas. "Congratulations, you majored in humiliation with a minor in regret." You see, they thought strength was puffing out their chests, trying to look tough, and intimidating people who weren't looking for a fight. Turns out, real strength is a lot less like a frat house initiation and a lot more like not running face first into a brick wall or diving into a dumpster without a helmet. Who knew? Their stunt didn't just end with ice packs and broken bones. It followed them home onto every phone and computer in the country. Social media made sure their greatest hits, Mark vs. Wall, Sam's dumpster dance, and Connor's parking meter meltdown, were remembered forever. Employers could Google them, girlfriends could Google them, even their grandkids will be able to Google them one day. Talk about a legacy. Olivia showed me a thread once where someone wrote, "These guys wanted to be legends. Mission accomplished, just not the kind they had in mind. Couldn't have said it better myself. The best part? They tried to pretend they were the victims. That lasted about 10 minutes, until all the videos and witnesses shut that story down faster than a party during finals week. No one believed their story, not their friends, not their family, not the school. Respect, gone. Credibility, shredded. Futures, put on hold forever. They really thought they'd walk away as heroes," Olivia said one night, shaking her head as she scrolled through another meme. "Yep," I said, sipping my coffee. "Instead, they walked away with casts, scars, and the title of everyone's favorite cautionary tale. The truth is, some mistakes don't fade. They stick around. 20 seconds of stupidity can follow you for decades, changing your future in ways you never planned. And sometimes the sweetest victories are the ones where you don't even have to throw a punch." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.